See yours.
And they're fantastic.
Yeah, sure.
They have an arrow. Table now.
You can turn your mic on when you're ready. I don't care if you turn it on now or not. Okay, are we ready? Okay. I declare council meeting back in order, in session. The first item on our agenda is agenda amendments and/or adoption. Any additions to agenda, please, Councilor
I have
Sol?
nothing, Your Worship.
Okay. Councilor Volkland?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Deputy Mayor Walls?
Your Worship, I do under in camera 2.2 intergovernmental relations.
Okay, we have that. And Councilor Graychuk, any items to be added? No?
Nothing, Your Worship.
And Councilor Peterson?
I have nothing, Worship.
And I have nothing. And administration?
Your Worship, item 6.1, bylaw number 1504, Town of Strathmore Fees Bylaw Amendment Bylaw. Just a note to council, you have a new bylaw in front of you that was at your desk when you came in this evening.
Worship, I move to adopt agenda as amended.
We have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Carried. Previous minutes, adoption of the December 17th regular council meeting minutes.
I shall move.
We have a motion on the floor.
Your Worship, just a minor, a couple of adjustments there on the December 17th one rather. Just spelling issue of Deputy Mayor L. It should be Mayor L. Sorry. Thank you.
Okay. One minor adjustment. Is there any other amendments? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. And adoption for the December 23rd special council meeting minutes.
So move.
We have a motion on the floor. Any amendments or changes? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Okay, bylaw 6.1 and administration, please.
Your Worship, just before we get going, I've got two 6.1s, and I know that there was one placed on our desk, which is the newer one. I'm not sure which one that is.
Oh.
Is it the one with the highlighted?
They both have highlights on them.
Yeah, there's on page 3. There's a City of Calgary growth charge, newly constructed premises. Is that the one we're dealing with?
No, it would be new
That's not the one.
development and new commercial and industrial.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay, so page 3 of your agenda page on the bylaw, we are adding in under new meter fee, a meter test fee. We're just adding in the provision for GST to be included.
Okay.
And then the second change is the City of Calgary growth charge. And that item was previously listed under administrative charges, so we've just split that out. So the change is just reflecting new development for residential units at $489 per unit. And then for new commercial and industrial development, $6,723.75 per hectare. And that's the charge that we are collecting for the City of Calgary for the growth charges.
Questions? Deputy Mayor Walls?
Your Worship, to our Deputy CEO, can you explain the meter test fee to me? So if I was asking the town to come in and have my meter tested, would I be charged $100 for that?
Yes.
And on what reason would I want my meter tested?
Well, if you feel that your meter is faulty, right, then we would send it in and have it tested.
Your Worship,
Councillor Graychuk?
I don't see in here, and maybe I missed it, but it used to be the commercial meters had to be redone every 10 years. Is that still in there? Or is that in this bylaw?
That wouldn't be in this bylaw. This is just the fees bylaw.
Okay. Thanks.
No further questions?
Your Worship, I move the council give first reading to bylaw 15-04, fees bylaw amendment bylaw.
We have a motion on the floor. All in favor? Carried.
Worship, I move the council give second reading to bylaw 15-4, fees bylaw amendment bylaw.
Any discussions or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried.
Worship, I move that council give unanimous consent to third reading of bylaw number 15-04, fees bylaw amendment bylaw.
All in favor? And carried.
And I would move the council give third and final reading to bylaw number 15.04, fees bylaw amendment bylaw.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. And thank you. New business, economic development, Alberta Annual Conference. Administration, please.
Your Worship, the EDA conference will be held this year from April 8th to 10th in Kananaskis. In previous years, members of council have attended along with some staff members. Administration is bringing this forward to council for your consideration, just to let administration know whether or not you're interested in attending this conference this year. And if so, we're recommending that council authorize those council members wishing to attend.
Councillor Peterson?
Your Worship, I have previously indicated my interest in doing this, especially after the presentation by last year's chairman of the Economic Development Association. I'd be very interested in attending.
Okay. Councillor Peterson has indicated an interest to attend. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Your Worship, I move the council
I would like to also put my name forward to attend that conference. I attended last year along with the CAO, and we found that conference to be highly beneficial to this town. So I would like to also put my name forward, please.
Your Worship, I move the council authorize Councillor Peterson and Mayor L to attend the EDA 2015 AGM and conference on April 8th, 2015 to April 10th, 2015 in Kananaskis, Alberta.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. 8.2, request from a citizen in regards to the sidewalk snow removal bylaw. And who is going to be coming forward and speak on that? Okay.
Good evening, Your Worship.
Good evening.
Evening.
Now, for the request for decision, I don't know if you need me to waive reading, or would you like me to read that, or I think you'll have a copy there.
When you say reading, what are you
Just
looking at?
if you want me to read the reading of the request for decision, do you want me to read over the request, or just our department comments?
Just your department comments, but if there is anything that council would like to have him bring forward and special attention, we'll, I guess we'll bring it forward at that time. Okay.
Well, I wonder if we could first just introduce the issue, Your Worship, either from administration, perhaps to introduce the issue, and then Mr. Taylor can carry on with their position on this.
Okay.
Your Worship, administration has received a letter from a citizen who was charged for sidewalk cleanup due to non-compliance with the snow removal bylaw. The citizen is requesting council to change the bylaw to allow for warnings to be given before sidewalks are cleaned by the town.
Good. And that's the, okay. Mr. Keller, sir.
We find in the municipal enforcement department that this bylaw is the best possible way to deal with snow and ice covered sidewalks. In the past, municipal enforcement used to write a $100 ticket to the homeowner, and at that time it was a bylaw ticket. It was placed on the door of the homeowner. The next day, or as soon as the officer can get to that resident, doing patrols notice sidewalk wasn't done, another ticket was issued. It was taking too long to get the sidewalk cleared of snow and ice. With the bylaw ticket, most did not get paid, so therefore it would go to provincial, which means that a Part 2 ticket would have to be issued out. In order to serve a provincial ticket for this offense, the ticket had to be served personally to the homeowner, and sometimes it could take 3 to 4 months to serve it personally. Some of the owners in town do not reside in town. They're either in Calgary, they're out of province, BC, Ontario, what have you. And if it did go provincial, all those tickets do need to be served personally as a Part 2. Under this bylaw, we get the sidewalks cleared and cleaned within the 48 hours after a snowfall to make it safe for sidewalk users. We do patrols checking on the sidewalks. We receive citizen complaints on sidewalks not being cleared. And on each case that we have a call, or when we recognize that the sidewalk needs to be cleared, photos are taken of the resident and the sidewalk. File is created on each address, and then the contractor is called to come out and remove the snow. The sidewalk needs to be cleaned right down to the cement, otherwise users such as we have the elderly, people in wheelchairs, mom and dads pushing strollers. It makes it very difficult to be going through the sidewalk if it's not cleared down to the cement. The office had received complaints that the sidewalk's not done. In one case, that complainant fell and did hit his head. I know the subject has come up about examples for warnings, but then how long will that warning be in effect? Is everyone going to be expecting a warning at the within the 48 hours for us to go do a warning, create a file, come back at the next opportunity and do that? When it should be a safety issue, it should be dealt with as soon as possible. Our department has contacted Calgary Bylaw, and their bylaw is complaint basis. So 24 hours after the last snowfall, a resident can call in a complaint. At that time, Calgary will send out a warning notice to get the sidewalk cleaned. After the warning is sent and the sidewalk not cleared, a crew will be sent to clean the sidewalk in a homeowner build. And that's just one example. So it's a lot of extra work for administration, and would be an increased cost for the town to create that. An example locally, I guess, is Chestermere bylaw in regards to this is exactly the same of what we have in place right now.
Okay, questions? Deputy Mayor Walls?
Your Worship, to Peace Officer Taylor. So when you're driving by and you notice that there's a sidewalk that has not been cleaned within 48, do you automatically issue a ticket, or is it sometimes based on your discretion?
Well, I think we're talking two separate things here. One, I guess in the past, it was called a violation, a fine, I guess, so to speak. way that is now, people are comparing it to a fine when it shouldn't be. It's actually a contractor cost. I guess you can call it a fine if you want, but it's a contractor fee and the admin fee. An example is we went on a call, separate, a dog call. And after the dog call, myself and another officer, we just noticed the walks in that area were not done at some of the residents. So we completed that area. We did a sweep of that area, completed it, sent out a contractor to have them cleaned, and that was done because it is a safety issue, and we feel it's a community issue. You have neighbors doing their walks, and some aren't. There's some that are continuous that may not be, but we go back to accessibility. We have kids, elderly. It's just that it needs to be looked at right away instead of being delayed.
Councillor Sobel?
Doesn't matter. Thank you, Kevin. How many violations would you say do you have any estimation of how many violators you dealt with in 2014?
Yeah, and I'll kind of flip back because I think the amendment happened in the spring of 2014.
Which is why I say violators in general.
Okay.
Not necessarily fines, but also those who were recipients of the extra service.
Okay, well, let's go back to, we did a kind of a snapshot between January to March of this year before the amendment came through, where we tagged the home. I wasn't here, so I'm just taking stats from what was presented. 31 bylaw tags were attached to the door. None of them were paid. No provincials were sent. Sidewalks weren't cleared. This year, November, December stats, I believe that's when we first started this up. It was November for clearing. 100 files right on the dot that we've had cleared right away that same day as contact. So again, recognition of us being out there doing patrols in the community, and complaints that have been received by our office to go out. So it's increased, and they're getting handled. They're getting cleaned, which was our focus.
And Your Worship, thank you. Your Worship, like most things in town, this garnered the attention of the social media, and specifically this particular case and this specific attendance at council. And there was a lot of discussion, and actually I received a fair amount of response from constituents. But one took the trouble to send me an email, and with council's indulgence, I'd like to read that. This is from Sherry Coe, and it's dated yesterday. Dear Bob, it's been brought to my attention that bylaw 1425 will be brought before council Wednesday, January 7th, 2015. I have a previous engagement and are unable to attend. I was hoping you could be my voice for me and express some of the concerns I have in regards to this matter. Firstly, I'd like to address the idea that with home ownership comes responsibility. It is not your neighbor's responsibility nor the town's to ensure that your sidewalk is cleared. If you can't find the time to take care of your responsibility, then I suggest you support the local economy and hire it done. I think in the long run, they would be a lot less expensive than fine after fine. Seriously, you live in Alberta, you know it snows. If you own property, common sense would dictate you need to clear your walk. Tell me again why we need to waste time, money, and resources reminding people of what should be a common sense. I'm absolutely opposed to issuing a warning before issuing a fine. This bylaw is neither new or original, and unless you don't either read the local newspapers, have never been a homeowner anywhere, or just plain unaware of the obligations of home ownership, then we should all be aware, and a warning is redundant and unnecessary as well as costly. I also happily shovel that of my elderly neighbors or absent neighbors' walk, as I was taught that that's the right thing to do. People claim they want to live in a small town for the community. That, my friends, is a mere definition of community. A warning or schooling from the town should not be necessary and will only end up financially costing the rest of us. Perhaps council should look at another method as opposed to fines. The town could bill for the cost of removal rather than a fine process. This actually ensures that the sidewalk gets shoveled. And how can one argue with paying for services rendered? Which, of course, I should add myself that is, of course, what we're doing now. A great many people feel this is unjust, but in contrast to other municipalities, i.e. Calgary, where you only have 24 hours to remove and a minimum $150 fine call-out fee for a removal company, I feel that 2 days is more than adequate to take to shovel. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. And that's all the questions I have for Kevin, Your Worship. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gaethje?
First off, yeah, I'm certainly in favor of, we got to clean our sidewalks. We all know that. But, and with the greatest respect to the town and administration and our outside workers, does the town itself follow that bylaw? I can assure you, and with the greatest respect, I could take you someplace right now and there's ice on the sidewalks. So it's going to be difficult. I mean, and that's what was brought up to me by many, many citizens. So how do we handle that? If we're going to charge them, what about us?
Yeah, and I guess that comment is, we do go out there to, we're talking, different residents have what, 20, 40 feet to shovel. We have many kilometers that we shovel, and we are out there doing it, plowing, whatever, clearing them up. To that question, you're right. There's going to be some walks. Well, if this isn't done, why isn't this done? And that could be just, again, a call into parks or our department here to forward that on to get those specific areas done. I see what you're saying. It's a matter of resources out there, but again, you have to look at the spectrum of it, where you have one resident with how many feet in front to a town with how many kilometers of walkway, right?
Well, there's the guy that, Your Worship, there's the guy that has the counter lot and he has 150 feet to clean up. So
Again, you're going to either a narrow residence of high, you're right, reverse pie, where they might have 10 feet to 100 feet. So
I have a hard time with that though. I mean, yes, I'm really concerned. I mean, there's ice. I know I could take in, we all know this. We could take in and does that include pathways too, or is it just sidewalks?
I'm not too sure if it would include pathways. I'd have to review.
No, I don't think the bylaw includes pathways. I think it's sidewalks only.
Just sidewalks only? Yeah. But how do you work with that? Because I'm just saying in the court of law, if the guy was charged with ice on it, and especially I'm thinking specifically ice, and that's a hard one to get off.
Yeah.
Especially with the Chinooks and whatnot. And
it's tough here because it melts. And then
and
gets
back
cold
on
again and comes back and forth. I do know at my residence, if it's cleared off right away, we had that freezing rain that came down, and that was an exception. There's some alternatives to do, like lay down some salt.
Yeah.
There's other measures that you can do to get rid of what's there, and just to do your best. But again, with the resources with the town, with what we have here, they're out doing the walks as well. And again, we'll take citizens' calls that come in if it's specific areas that need to be looked at as well.
don't get me wrong. I think the town does a great job, and I just think it's very difficult to maintain all those miles of walkways. But that's just the way the system views it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you, Your Worship.
Yeah, just a quick comment, and this will be my last comment. Once we get into that, it's a very dangerous area to get into. It's like the police saying stopping an impaired driver, and the impaired driver said, I knew a guy that was impaired last week. How come you didn't get him? Or how come that guy's not getting caught for speeding? I mean, the fact of the matter is, everybody's got a responsibility to do this, including the town. And I think the town, for the amount that they have and the staff that we have, I think we do an admirable job with our pathways and the areas that we have to clean, our roadways, et cetera. But I really feel that this is a citizen's responsibility. We've made it a citizen's responsibility with this bylaw, and I think that some diligence has to be some due diligence has to be brought forth by the and I think our sidewalks, to be quite honest with you, I don't think they're in a really great shape. I think there's a lot of snow on these sidewalks, and I think a lot of people are lax in how quickly they get to their sidewalks, and it's just the sidewalks. So when we're talking about going out to shovel for an hour, it's not. It's your sidewalk area, and yes, it can be 10 feet to 150 feet, but it's still not. It's still only talking a few minutes to clean that. And if everybody did it, we certainly, especially with the way this bylaw has gone, we certainly are not using this as an income-based exercise. This is strictly an effort at safety, and it's everyone's safety. This could be anybody's mother walking along that road, hitting the ice. Thank you.
Deputy CAO, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's also a matter of liability. So it's not the homeowner who is liable. the town owns the sidewalks. We would be liable if somebody slipped and fell, which is why the Municipal Government Act allows us to pass bylaws to control that. A municipality can't possibly take care of all of the sidewalks within a municipality, and the MGA does cover it. We did get a legal opinion, and the legal opinion was leave the bylaw the way it is.
Thank you. Councillor Peterson?
Thank you, Your Worship. I just have a question. In section 4 of the bylaw, it gives our bylaw people a certain amount of discretionary process in how you fulfill your work. And when I read section 4, if there was any part of this bylaw that I would look at reconsidering, it would be to give bylaw officers actually a broader scope. And I listened to what you said, and being able to give consideration to people who haven't been able to move ice but have laid down sand or salt, that they're showing goodwill. So I hear that you've used that discretion. Am I correct in saying
Correct. When we're at a property, we review each one independently, of course, and take a look at how that sidewalk has been maintained, how it's been looked after. I know one of the questions that was presented were warnings given in some circumstances, maybe falling under that. We haven't, but and again, as a group where we independently look at the sidewalks to see how they've been maintained, obviously that's going to be
that?
consideration of that. Salts laid down or something to prevent slipping. We know that there's an effort there to get rid of it. And also as our department, as a group, when we're out there taking these snapshots or photos of the properties, and if a resident was to come out, we'd allow time for them to, because again, it's not revenue generating, it's a safety issue. They want to come out, they can handle that property now and get it taken care of. We'll come back that day. We'll come back later, give them a time frame to get it done and prevent that from happening, have a contractor come out.
Thank you. The other question I have to ask subsequent to that relates to calls that I've received, partly due to the location in which I live, and that is with regards to long weekends where there are big snow events, and it appears that there may be times when school divisions or churches don't get onto the walks within that 48-hour period. Would you still consider that a violation?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. I guess if it came to our attention,
right?
Definitely that would have to be something that would be presented to, for example, school board, to their contractors, and that would be an example to bring up with them to that effect. Everybody needs to be notified.
I appreciate that.
That's a special circumstance, right?
I just always ask them to call
the
town and yourselves or the school board, and I don't think that there's ever been any major issue around that, but it is a concern that people have noted, and I'd like to thank Ms. Spice for bringing forward a really good letter and allowing us to consider this once more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's
got a follow-up.
Sorry.
Just had a question going back to warnings and talking about posting warnings and stuff. If that was the case, and I mentioned it duplicacy, because we have to then go back to see if that warning is being followed up on. But we have many residents in town that don't use, for example, the front door. It's already attached. I know people that go right into the garage. I go into the garage going that way. I may not see the front door until after, except when I have to shovel my walk. But that when the front side door may not see the warning. And again, it goes back to them. Now we're going to have to follow up in a case where it should be handled right away when it's recognized. And now we're delaying it. So.
Thank you.
Councillor Bachar?
Councillor Peterson brought up a good point about the churches and whatnot. And you could also, what about the person that goes and he hires somebody to clean the sidewalk while he's gone away for a holiday or whatever for 3 weeks? He doesn't know if that guy is working or not working. I mean, it gets into another whole scenario. I mean, where do you draw the lines here?
Responsibility goes back to the owner of that property, and we've had cases where we've talked to the owner and they said a tenant or somebody living there was supposed to take care of this. That would be a discussion between that owner or what have you, or where they have contracting to do those services. Just be prepared. It's the owner of that property's responsibility, residential or business, to make sure that it is completed. And If it's not, I'm sure that's a conversation that they would have with whoever that they had hired or to do that work.
But do you allow leeway for them as well, or
Well, again,
if it's rational?
it's yeah. If somebody's going to have that, we have to have conversation, right? Everything's independent. If I can't take individual cases until I'm presented with what the full scope is. But if they were to talk to us about it and review it, that can be reviewed at that time. So, again, that could be a case. Bottom line is safety. We want to make sure that after 48 hours after a snowfall, most are getting done, some aren't, and we just want to make sure that we have them all done.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No.
Your worship, I'm prepared to make a motion. Oh, sorry.
Okay, did you want to make a recommendation to council?
Our recommendation through municipal enforcement would be to leave the bylaw as is, as noted before in the past, with violation tags being presented, 0 compliance, 0 paid. And I know for the files that I have, I can't speak for the other officers of other files that I have, where I've unfortunately had to send out a contractor. Nobody wants to do that, but we have to clear it up. I haven't had a duplicate response to go back to that same residence another time.
Good. I'll entertain a motion.
Your worship, I'd move the council accept the letter from Ms. Spice for information and leave the bylaw as is.
We have a motion on the floor. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on our agenda is council committee appointments and administration.
Your worship, at the December 23rd special council meeting, Councillor Graychuk was sworn in. Now council needs to have a discussion in regard to council committees, as I'm sure Councillor Graychuk is eager to take on some committees.
Administration has brought to our attention that we could possibly share some of our council committee appointments. And I had the opportunity to speak with Councillor Graychuk before the meeting today, and he indicated that he is indeed quite willing to take on some committee appointments. There was some discussion in regards to, is it Wheatland Housing?
Yes.
Okay. Wheatland Housing, was it the one that under
Hatfield.
Pat Fuel? And that's why I'm not. Okay. Pat Fuel has indicated that he is willing to step down from his position with Wheatland Housing, and Councillor Graychuk has indicated a desire to accept that. There was also one other item that was discussed, was the Recreation Committee that Councillor Fuel also sits on. Now, my question in regards to that Recreation Committee, is that an actual committee that we have established, or is he just sitting there as a liaison? He's just sitting there as a liaison, so we don't need to appoint Councillor Graychuk in regards to that?
Your worship, as a formality, council did appoint Councillor Fuel to that committee,
Okay.
just to let the committee know that
He's there.
he was there. Yeah.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion.
So moved, your worship.
The motion that,
Well, we have to remove Councillor Fuel first.
yeah,
So your worship,
So,
I'd
yeah.
I would move that we remove Councillor Fuel from Wheatland Housing and
the
the Rec Community
liaison.
Liaison Board.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there any discussion?
And so I'm on both of those? Or
yet.
If you're willing to accept them,
is that how it's working here? Yeah, okay.
if you're willing to accept them.
Okay.
All in favor? Carried. I will entertain a motion to appoint.
I move that Councillor Graychuk be appointed to the Wheatland Housing Board and to, I'm still not really sure about this rec committee. Is that not an official committee? No? Not sure? Well, you know what? And I'd also move that we appoint Councillor Graychuk as a liaison with the recreational committee, and that we perhaps look into this further and get that as an official committee. But at this point, just as a liaison?
At this point, until we have the confirmation.
Right.
Okay, good. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. Council committee reports. And can I start with you, Councillor Sobel?
You sure can, Your Worship. So my reports for committee reports for December of 2014. For the Strathmore, Alberta 55 plus games, a small Christmas get-together was hosted by Alberta Sport Connection on December the 15th for all directors and their significant others. We managed to conduct about 15 minutes of business during this event, which dealt with internal matters. This continues to be a very enthusiastic group. We continue to get ready for this major event set to take place in about 6 months. Lastly, directors, staff, and friends of the games got together on December 19th and 20th to take shifts at a casino in Calgary. This was the first of 2 casinos the group will be taking part in as a fundraising project for the games. And I'd like to thank Councillors Peterson and Walls, including Mrs. Walls, for attending and helping us, the committee, out in fulfilling this responsibility. In regards to the Strathmore Wheatland Addictions Team, our SWAT regular meeting was held on December 4th. Subcommittees have been introduced as a way of being more effective on the various projects the committees take on. One in particular is the Media Committee, which will include, new efforts to connect with our residents through social media. Anyone can now sign into the SWAT or onto the SWAT Facebook page, or follow or continue to follow our efforts on Twitter. Lastly, it was agreed to publicly thank our major sponsors who over the year have supported us financially, because they believe that this team is doing great things in our community. Once again, thank you to Alberta Health Services, the Addiction Prevention Unit, W. Brett Wilson and Family, United Way, Strathmore FCSS, and Wheatland FCSS. There was no Transportation Committee for Calgary Regional Partnership held in December, nor was there any committee meetings for downtown revitalization or council policy review, and that's my report, Your Worship.
Thank you. Councillor Blokman?
Thank you, Your Worship. Attended the Chamber of Commerce meeting today at noon. I won't be releasing any information on that meeting. Woodhamsa had no meeting in December, I believe, Councillor Pearson?
We did not.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Handy bus meeting in December I missed due to Christmas hamper obligations. That's all I got.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Graychuk didn't have any committee meetings to attend. So.
My last meeting, October 2014.
Councillor Peterson.
Marigold Library has had a really exciting announcement in that Banff has rejoined the Marigold system. So that's been very, very exciting and well received. And the province-wide borrowing has also encouraged Marigold to bring out a new card user system. So for all members of Strathmore Library and Track Library System, you can go into Strathmore Library now and are able to get your very small wallet-sized card for borrowing. Strathmore Municipal Library had a volunteer luncheon just prior to Christmas, and as was previously reported, Strathmore Library's membership continues to grow. One of the very few libraries in all of Marigold that continues to do that, and we're really grateful to the library staff that have been able to engender that. Strathmore Regional Arts has not met in December, but they have a meeting coming up in a week, and they are very anxious to have new people be involved. They have many new initiatives. They're looking to do gallery work in the downtown community in conjunction with downtown revitalization. They're also looking at an initiative with Strathmore Library and FCSS to feature local artists. And they are very, very open and anxious, in fact, to have artists in the community or people who are interested in joining SRAC to come out and join that board as they continue to evolve. And as mentioned by my partner, what episode did not meet. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Deputy Mayor Walls?
Thank you, Your Worship. I thought maybe you were just going to skip by me. The Financial Audit Committee, no meeting was held in December, although there was a couple of dates sent out. However, it was been canceled. And I would assume looking at administration will be meeting quite soon.
Okay, there we go. No, I don't think there'll be a meeting probably until February.
And then, Your Worship, with Wheatland Housing, no meeting. We had our Christmas party for the seniors. Fortunately, I was unable to attend due to previous commitments. However, I went in there and signed close to 70 cards for all the staff. So that's all I have to report, Your Worship.
Good, thank you. And my reports, as Deputy Mayor Walls indicated, Financial Audit Committee did not meet. Community Futures Wild Rose, I was not available to attend the December meeting, and the Calgary Region, as a director with the Calgary Regional Partnership, I was unable to attend the December meeting for that. And there was no council review committee. I did attend Calgary Regional Partnership Economic Prosperity meeting on December the 11th, and the representative with Community Futures Wild Rose also attended with me. All communities involved with the Calgary Regional Partnership presented an update on the current economic climate and gave an outline in regards to the future projects. And Carl Ye with the CRP spoke on inbound marketing and how advertising is changing. Inbound marketing focuses on creating educational content that pulls people towards your website, where they can learn more about your product and or service on their own accord. 67% of a buyer's journey today is done digitally. Eric Burton, Economic Development Specialist for the province of Alberta, also presented on behalf of the government. And the Alberta government is working on increasing economic prosperity in our region through the CRP. Their focus is to improve productivity, increase business investment, and expand our market reach. Diversification of the job market through innovation and high-quality jobs. Province's aim is to have median after-tax family income grow faster than inflation, while still operating within our environmental capacity to support healthy ecosystems and community well-being. Eric Burton regularly attends CRP meetings. He introduced himself and advised he is available for consultation to assist Strathmore with our economic development. PricewaterhouseCoopers has also been working with CRP. The presentation was a follow-up with key findings and interim conclusions. They examined 4 categories: cost of doing business, ease of doing business, ability to retain talent, and access to qualified talent. Some key findings: the Calgary region has experienced a 2 to 4% growth in the past 10 years in all key demographic and economic indicators. Our area is at an all-time peak in terms of retail spending, talent, and housing starts. Less than 9% of the businesses are located outside of Calgary, and the final report will be made by them on January the 8th. And that's all of my reports. And administration.
Okay, on economic development, I want to cover a few things. The first item is on building permits for year end. Our total building permit value is a little over 37 million for this past year. In 2013, 22 million. So it was over 15 million more in 2014. Pertaining to housing, duplexes and all, we were up from 16 million to over 23 million. Commercial went from 4 million to 12 million. And industrial from 205,000 to 1.8 million. So anyway, we had a much better year in 2014. I also wanted to talk about economic development marketing strategy. The town hired a consultant by the name of Richard Pauls. He met with me, then he met with my management team, then he met with council and had a workshop. Then this week, matter of fact, yesterday, we had a meeting with the business people, and we invited 13 to participate in it. Not all of them could make it. Some were out of town, some in the US, But anyway, the ones that came were very good, gave lots of good comments on what they feel is needed. Now, tomorrow morning, again, at 11 o'clock, Richard Pauls has come to meet with Linda and myself, and he sent me a draft today so we could look at it. Linda and myself looked at it. He'll be here in the morning at 11. He's going to review his draft a little bit more, and then he will be putting a final package together that we can give to council and to the business people that were here to participate. I was very impressed with the business people that came. They had a real desire to see the community grow and progress. They had some good ideas, and they don't want the time and effort they put in and council put in to be put on a shelf as another study or whatever. They want to see it progress and go for it. And it's quite interesting. Probably well over half, maybe 3/4 of the items that council had as priorities, the business community had the same, which was very impressive because they could have been way different. Several of them were right on, like a website. The website has to be improved. And of course, they didn't know about it. We told them that the consultant is a little behind schedule on it, but we'll soon have a new website. They also mentioned, one of them, that one of the realtors, matter of fact, it was here, 90% of people looking and buying homes now go to the internet and pick out homes before they even talk to a realtor at all, 90%. So anyway, it's very important that we have our website up to date, and also the data on the website has got to be very accurate and up to date. And he mentioned that, or we mentioned that when he met with council as well. But I found it really exciting when the business community were thinking the same thing. And they had no idea what council had talked about or thought about or whatever. They had the opportunity to play the same game on the wall with the dots and all. And anyway, it turned out very well. So anyway, as of tomorrow morning, we'll be able to pretty well finalize it. He'll get it out so that we can give it to council and to those business people that participated. And it was too bad that a few of them couldn't make it. One of them was in Las Vegas, going to Las Vegas that day, and so on. But anyway, overall, very impressive. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Motion to accept the reports?
I would move the council.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I would just like to comment, I'm very impressed with the amount of building permits that have been issued in 214. But for the record, and a lot of people don't realize this, is a lot of those administration probably started a lot of that stuff, or council, a lot of the 2 and 3 years prior to last year's building permits and the work that you go through before something happens. And it's just so that the press knows and the public knows that it just doesn't happen in a 1 month or 6 month period. It happens over years, actually, in a lot of cases. And a lot of the public isn't aware of that, you know. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Councilor Peterson?
I would move to accept as presented the reports from council and administration.
We have a motion on the floor. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And carried. There is nothing further on our agenda. Would Councillor Walls like to make
Ask
a
a
motion?
question? No,
Or-
Councilor Walls would like to ask a question.
Oh.
I know I didn't get this on the agenda, Your Worship. I guess I'd just like to have a quick conversation and maybe regarding the FCM's request for proposals to hold an FCM Board of Directors meeting here in Strathmore. I guess I'm just looking to know, I understand that obviously we're in a time crunch with everything that's going on with some staffing. I guess my question would be to Dr. Stanford. Could we find out what type of guiding principles they're looking for, what kind of facilities we need to have? I guess just to give us a bit of an idea if we can even host something like that.
I didn't have a chance today. I got the message later in the day. But anyway, I'll talk to Tracy, get an idea. And then also, administration will follow up to find out how many people will be coming, when they, more details about what's required and expected. I know traditionally, They've mainly gone to board meetings in major cities. But anyway, we can at least check into it.
Your worship, just if I may, it may be a mute issue for us, but it's just, I think it's important just to see if we can even host them like that. I know we're getting to the point where we're hosting more things, so I think this may be another feather in our cap, if you will.
We'll check it out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll entertain a motion to go in camera.
So moved, your worship.
And-
To deal with land legal labor.
Okay, motion to go in camera, all in favor? Carried.
We got 5?
5 minutes?
And we'll have a 5-minute recess.